Education Minister Naftali Bennett admitting political defeat, saying that his rival, Benjamin Netanyahu, is correct. And for the good of the nation, he must stay put in the ruling coalition.
The state of Israel has stopped winning. When Israel wants to win, we will go back to winning. This is not a decree of fate. If the Prime Minister is serious in his intentions, and I want to believe what he said last night, so I say this to him: we remove all our political demands and we will stand by you and assist you in this mighty mission so that Israel will go back to winning. I assume I will pay a political price for this in the hours to come and the days to come.
Education Minister Naftali Bennett, Justice Minister Ayelet Shaked made their speeches a few hours ago, saying that they're staying put. But before they spoke, Benjamin Netanyahu had a few choice words of his own.
We're in the middle of a campaign that hasn't ended yet, and in this delicate security situation, it is irresponsible to topple the government. Even if our affiliates want to topple the government, even if yes or no, we will continue to act to ensure the security of our state and the security of our citizens. We will do this wisely and with determination.
With me now is lawmaker Yossi Yonah, joining us in the halls of Parliament, the Knesset building. Yossi is with the Zionist Union faction in Parliament. Sir, thank you so much for being with us. I want to ask, on a big picture here, when the elections happen, whether they're early in March or May, or whether they're on time in November, how can you be confident that, again, the Likud will not dominate the results, that, again, Netanyahu won't easily retain the portfolio of Prime Minister?
Well, there's no guarantees in political life, so it is not. This is not, as far as I'm concerned, the question. The question is whether there is whether Israel need new leadership. And I'm very much convinced that it is the case, because what we have seen in the last few days is that the government is toppling itself. The government is defeating itself. The government seems not to be capable of ruling, and I think that these events actually send a very clear message to the Israeli public that the government has failed miserably, and so it is time for a new leadership for our country, because the challenges are very important, very considerable. And I think that the public now is seeing that fact, that mishandling of military, of political, of economical affairs by the current government. And so it is indeed a high time to replace it.
Sir, you have certainly seen the polls. As a member of the Zionist Union, the polls aren't looking great for the Zionist Union if elections were held today. Do you need a new leader, perhaps, a new message, something to bring the polls around?
Yes, I agree with you, Jeff, and I think that we're going to see some kind of, how to put it, disentanglement of the existing political groups and new assemblies, so that we would be able to not just to give a good fight, but also to win the upcoming elections. So as many of people belonging to my camp are stating that, well, we've got to put ego considerations aside. The leader should be the one that is assuming the better chances to win the elections. And I believe that within ourselves we would find the emotional, how to put it, rational resources, so that we make that we're going to make the right choice, so that there would be a united front among the opposition parties.
Sir, could that right choice
enable us to win the election?
Sir, could that right choice that you're mentioning be Benny Gantz, perhaps? There is a poll that shows if Benny Gantz ends up in the Zionist Union camp, that would be a really strong political faction. It could rival the Likud. Do you believe that Benny Gantz would belong in the Zionist Union?
I think that there's a good chance for that. You know, as I was saying before, if there would be some kind of kind of breaking down all the structures and putting together a new structures, it might be. I mean, he is one of the prestigious, the very well, highly esteemed leaders in Israeli society. So he is indeed one of the options that ought to be put on the table, ought to be considered for leading the camp. But I would like also to add and say that he is not the only leaders to be considered. I think that our society, Israeli public arena, is abundant with capable, prestigious, competent leaders, and we are duty bound to reach out to some of them, to all of them, and to say, well, look, I mean, there is indeed a big challenge facing us, the Israeli society. It is not that, Jeff, it is not a challenge that facing our party. We look at it as a vital national interest that the current government would be placed. So it is not a sort kind of, if you wish, a partisan kind of political considerations that are confronting us, but I do believe that it would be best for Israel at large that this failing government, and as I said before, admittingly by its own members, cabinet members, that it actually expired its term, and indeed it ought to be replaced.
What are your thoughts, Yossi, quickly on Benjamin Netanyahu now having the portfolio of defense minister, health minister, immigrant absorption minister, foreign minister? He has all of these portfolios. What do you think of that?
Well, it seems totally absurd. The way I see it is the moment that one person, and no matter how competent he or she might be, how smart, how capable, he would not be able to handle multiple national affairs or public affairs in the field of health and the field of defense and the field of foreign affairs and so forth and so on. It is beyond the capacity of any human being. So the very fact that he's holding all these portfolios at the same time, indeed, it is indicative to the inherent problems that the coalition government is being plagued with. And again, this is another reason, another, as I said, indication to the failure of this government and the urgent and acute need to replace it.
All right, we have to leave it there.